Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. Today, we are unlocking the secrets of Robert Greene's absolute powerhouse of a book, Mastery. If you've ever felt like you're just kind of drifting through your career, or maybe you're super ambitious but just don't quite know how to reach the absolute top of your field, you are exactly in the right place. Today, we're diving deep into Greene's framework to discover what it actually takes to transform from a totally lost beginner into a true master of your craft. And the best part, it's not magic. It's a measurable process. We're going to walk step by step through the hero's journey of these 5 distinct stages: discovering your true calling, the ideal apprenticeship, mastering social intelligence, the creative active phase, and finally, achieving true mastery. When we start out, we usually face 2 paths. We could be like Sam. He's a graphic designer, constantly switching projects, bouncing around, chasing the next shiny object, basically just crossing his fingers and hoping for a big break. But because he avoids the deep work, he never really gets anywhere. Or we can take Sarah's approach. She's a musician who is dedicating years to a single craft, completely embracing all the failures and brutal lessons along the way. True mastery, it absolutely requires Sarah's approach. You have to embrace the long, often difficult process. So let's jump right in. Stage 1, discover your true calling and aligning with your inner force. Now, you've probably heard of Malcolm Gladwell's famous 10,000-hour rule, right? Well, Greene actually drops a bit of a reality bomb on us here. He says it actually takes at least 20,000 hours of deep focus to truly master a complex skill. I mean, think about that. 20,000 hours. If you're going to spend that much of your life doing something, deep internal passion isn't just a nice to have. It is literally a survival requirement. Without it, you're going to burn out for sure. But with it, all those thousands of hours, they feel like an awesome exploration rather than just mind-numbing drudgery. The problem is, it's incredibly easy to get derailed onto what Greene calls the false path. This is when we start chasing external validation. Chasing money, societal status, or just trying to make our parents proud. It's a massive trap. Instead, we have to look backward. Go back to your untainted childhood passions. Before society told you what was practical, what did you just naturally love doing? That is exactly where you're going to find your specific niche, the sweet spot where you can seamlessly merge your work and your life. Moving right along to stage 2, the ideal apprenticeship. This is all about embracing the grind. This apprenticeship phase breaks down into 3 really crucial steps. First step is deep observation. When you enter a new field, your goal is definitely not to impress people. You actually need to quiet your ego and just passively observe the rules and the hidden power dynamics. Step 2 is skill acquisition. You just need to learn the basics. Actually, scratch that. You need to focus intensely on one single foundational skill. Multitasking is the enemy here. Endure the boredom until that skill is yours. And finally, experimentation. Once you've got the basics down cold, you shift into active mode and start bending the rules slightly to gain real hands-on experience. But here's the harsh truth about this phase. You've got to value learning over money. You must be willing to live on very little right now, so you have the absolute freedom to learn as deeply as possible. And whatever you do, don't shy away from the hard stuff. Actively run toward your weaknesses. Embrace the discomfort, the resistance, and especially the failure. Believe it or not, failures are going to be the absolute best teachers you'll ever have on this journey. Okay, stage 3, mentors and social intelligence. It's time to navigate human nature. So finding a mentor is essentially like finding a mirror. A truly great mentor is going to see way more talent in you than you see in yourself, but they're also going to reflect a highly realistic and honestly sometimes uncomfortable critique of your work back at you. And that feedback can sting, but it dramatically accelerates your learning curve. You basically get to bypass years of painful trial and error by absorbing their wisdom. Just remember, the end game isn't to become a total clone of your mentor. It's to absorb what they know and then, eventually, surpass them. Greene points to this really fascinating study based on Gladwell's Outliers research that tracked a bunch of high IQ children. And surprisingly, a ton of these brilliant kids ended up in completely unskilled jobs. Why? Because raw intellectual talent is essentially useless if you lack social intelligence. If you can't read people's motives or manage the emotional strain of dealing with others or navigate messy office politics, your technical skills simply will not save you. Social intelligence is the ultimate antidote to projecting our own emotional baggage onto everybody else. To really master social intelligence, you have to wrap your head around what Greene calls the 7 deadly realities. We're talking about envy,
conformism, rigidity, self-obsessiveness, laziness, flightiness, and passive aggression. Look, these are universal psychological patterns. People are going to exhibit them, it's just human nature. But if you can get good at spotting these realities in real time, you can anticipate people's hidden agendas, sidestep all that unnecessary drama, and fiercely protect your own energy.
So how do we actually do that in the real world? Well, Greene gives us two methods. First, craft a persona. Think of it like a protective theatrical mask you wear in different social contexts so you don't drain your inner mental energy. Second, and this is probably my favorite advice in the whole book, suffer fools gladly. You just have to accept that foolishness is baked right into human nature. Instead of getting super frustrated and drained by a toxic coworker, just kind of accept it with a sense of humor. Save all that precious energy for your craft. Which brings us to stage 4, the creative active phase. Now, we start breaking the rules. To successfully break those rules, you have to awaken what Greene calls the dimensional mind. True creativity is rarely blocked by a lack of actual talent. It's almost always blocked by our own anxiety, insecurity, and conservatism. We naturally cling to what feels safe, but a dimensional mind completely embraces ambiguity. It explores serendipity, and it looks at problems from totally bizarre, unconventional angles. You have to actively push past the traditional limits of your field. Be careful, though, because this phase is an absolute minefield of emotional pitfalls. You've got complacency, conservatism, getting too dependent on your mentor, impatience, grandiosity, hello ego, and inflexibility. You have to constantly guard yourself against these internal roadblocks. And remember, public fame, it's totally fleeting. Your core motivation has to remain the sheer mastery of the craft itself, not just the applause you get for it. So what are the actual mechanics of a creative breakthrough? It starts with intense focus, just total immersion in the task. Then comes high tension, like a looming deadline, which basically forces your brain into overdrive to make crazy new connections. But here's the really surprising part. The magic only happens when you finally step away. You literally have to release the tension, go take a walk, or just go to sleep. It's only in that exact moment of relaxation that the big creative breakthrough bubbles right out from your unconscious mind. And finally, we arrive at stage 5, achieving true mastery, the ultimate evolution. The intuitive mind is a sacred gift, and the rational mind is a faithful servant. I just love that quote. It so beautifully captures the absolute peak of Greene's entire framework. True mastery is this incredible fusion of the intense, rational intellect we've been building up over thousands of hours, combined with this almost primal, instinctive intuition. It's what allows the greats to anticipate trends and spot unseen forces way before anyone else even has a clue. Greene calls this the fingertip feel. Imagine layering simple skills on top of each other over and over again for years. Eventually, they literally bypass your conscious brain and get hardwired straight into your nervous system. By automating those basic skills, you free up massive amounts of brain power to handle super high-level complexities. You develop a literal fingertip feel for your craft, which makes your execution look completely, flawlessly effortless to the outside world. Ultimately, the whole journey comes down to a massive shift in perspective. A beginner is stuck on a very narrow path, they rely on mechanical repetition and view everything through a self-centered lens. But the master, they become a universal thinker. They analyze competition from a global perspective, they practice inside-out empathy to completely understand their opponents, and most importantly, they synthesize knowledge across totally unrelated fields to drive genuine, world-changing innovation. So, as we wrap up this explainer today, I really want to leave you with a direct question to chew on. Are you currently wandering down a false path, just exhausting yourself chasing external validation? Or are you actively doing the hard, deeply fulfilling work of building your life's task? The roadmap to ultimate mastery is literally right in front of you. The choice of whether to take that first step, well, that's entirely up to you.